The rain hammered against the windshield as I pulled into our driveway, my hands trembling on the steering wheel. It was past midnight, and the house stood dark except for a single light glowing in our bedroom window. Emma was waiting up for me again. We'd been to dinner with her college friends, the usual crowd of successful couples discussing vacation homes and private schools. I'd smiled through it all, nodding at appropriate moments, but inside I was drowning. Every accomplishment they shared felt like another reminder of my failures. I sat in the car for 10 minutes, watching water stream down the glass, trying to summon the courage to go inside. 3 years. That's how long I'd been carrying this weight. 3 years of watching the distance between Emma and me grow wider, of feeling her slip away inch by inch while I smiled and pretended everything was fine. The promotion I'd been promised went to someone younger. The startup I'd invested our savings in collapsed spectacularly. Every day I woke up feeling like I was failing her, failing us, failing at being the man she'd married. I finally forced myself out of the car and walked through the rain to our front door. Inside, the house smelled like the lavender candles Emma loved. I found her in the bedroom, propped up against pillows with a book she wasn't really reading. "Hey," she said softly, setting it aside. "You were gone a long time. Just sat in the car for a bit." I loosened my tie, avoiding her eyes. Needed to think. About what? Everything. Nothing. How to tell you I'm terrified. How to admit I've been lying to you for years. Just work stuff. Emma was quiet for a moment. When I finally looked at her, something in her expression made my chest tighten. She wasn't buying it anymore. She never really had. "James," she said, and there was something fragile in her voice. "We need to talk." Those 4 words sent ice through my veins. This was it, the conversation I'd been dreading. She was going to tell me she couldn't do this anymore. That she deserved better than a husband who was hollow inside, who flinched every time someone asked how work was going, who'd become a ghost in his own life. "I know," I heard myself say. The words came out rough, broken. "I know we do." I sat on the edge of the bed, still in my damp clothes, and felt something inside me finally crack. Maybe it was the wine from dinner. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was just that I couldn't carry it anymore. "Emma, I need to tell you something. Actually, a lot of things. And I'm terrified you're going to hate me when I'm done." Emma sat up straighter, her book sliding off the comforter onto the floor. Neither of us moved to pick it up. "I'm not going to hate you," she said quietly, but I could hear the uncertainty beneath her words. "What's going on?" I stood up, needing to move, to pace. My reflection caught in the dresser mirror, a man I barely recognized anymore. When had I gotten so tired? When had the light behind my eyes dimmed? "I've been lying to you," I started, my voice shaking. "Not about cheating or anything like that. But about everything else. About how I'm doing. How we're doing. How I feel." The words started tumbling out, faster and faster, like a dam breaking. "That promotion I told you was delayed? They gave it to Blake. 26-year-old Blake who still lives with his parents. They said I wasn't dynamic enough. And the investment, God, Emma, we lost almost everything. I've been scrambling to rebuild our savings, taking on freelance work at night, and you don't even know because I've been hiding it all." I turned to face her, tears burning my eyes. "I wake up every morning feeling like a fraud. Like I'm failing you. Like I'm not the man you thought you married. And the worst part, the absolute worst part, is that I can feel you pulling away from me and I don't blame you. I would pull away from me too." Emma's face had gone pale. Her hands gripped the edge of the blanket. "Every time we're around your friends I feel like I'm suffocating. They're all so successful, so put together, and I'm just treading water, Emma. Barely keeping my head above the surface. And I see the way you look at me sometimes, like you're disappointed. Like you're wondering what happened to the ambitious guy you fell in love with." My voice cracked. "I'm terrified you're going to leave me. That one day you're going to wake up and realize you settled for someone mediocre, someone who couldn't give you the life you deserved. And tonight, sitting in that restaurant, watching you laugh with people who have their shit together, I thought, this is it. This is when she realizes she made a mistake." The room fell into suffocating silence. I couldn't look at her anymore. I stared at my hands, waiting for the blow to fall. Waiting for her to confirm every fear I'd been carrying. Instead, I heard something that shocked me. A sob. I looked up to find Emma's face crumpled, tears streaming down her cheeks. But she wasn't looking at me with disappointment or anger. She was looking at me with something that looked almost like relief. "James," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Oh my God, James. I thought," she pressed her hands to her face. "I thought I was the only one who felt that way." I stood frozen, unable to process what I was hearing. Emma was crying, Really crying now, the kind of tears that came from somewhere deep and long buried. She pulled her knees up to her chest, making herself small in a way I'd never seen before. "Come here," she said, reaching for me with a trembling hand. "Please." I moved to the bed on autopilot, sitting beside her. She immediately grabbed my hand, holding it like a lifeline. "I've been dying inside, James. For so long." Her voice was raw. "Every day I wake up wondering if you still love me. If you still want me. You come home and you're distant, distracted, and I tell myself it's just work stress, but part of me, God, part of me is convinced you're seeing someone else. Someone younger, prettier, more exciting." "What?" The word came out sharp with shock. "Emma, no. Never. I would never." "I know. Logically, I know that." She wiped her eyes with her sleeve. "But anxiety doesn't care about logic. And you've been so far away, James. We barely talk anymore. We haven't made love in weeks. You flinch when I touch you sometimes, like you can't stand to be close to me." The truth of her words hit me like a physical blow. I had been pulling away, not because I didn't want her, but because I felt so inadequate, so unworthy of her touch. "When you said you wanted to talk tonight," Emma continued, her voice shaking, "I was convinced you were leaving me. That you were going to say you'd found someone else, or that you couldn't do this anymore. I've been preparing myself for this conversation for months." She turned to face me fully, and in the soft lamplight, I saw all the pain she'd been hiding mirrored in her eyes. How had I missed this? How had we both been so lost in our own fears that we couldn't see each other drowning? "Those dinners with my friends?" She laughed bitterly. "I hate them. I spend the whole time pretending everything's perfect while watching you shrink into yourself. Melissa with her tech mogul husband, Jennifer with her surgeon wife. I don't care about any of that. But I keep going because I thought that's what you wanted. I thought you wanted me to have this successful, impressive social circle because I wasn't enough on my own." "Emma?" "And my job," she interrupted, the words rushing out now like she couldn't stop them. "Everyone thinks I love being a senior analyst. They think I'm thriving. But I'm miserable, James. I sit in that office 12 hours a day analyzing data I don't care about, working for people who treat me like a machine, and I do it because I thought it made you proud. I thought it made me worthy of you." She pressed her forehead against my shoulder, and I felt her whole body shaking. "I've gained 15 pounds. My anxiety is so bad I started taking pills for it. I cry in my car during lunch breaks. And the worst part is that I couldn't tell you any of this because I was so afraid you'd see how broken I am and leave." I wrapped my arms around Emma, pulling her close as we both fell apart. 3 years of silence, of carefully constructed walls, crumbling in minutes. We clung to each other like survivors of a shipwreck, finally finding solid ground. "I thought you were disappointed in me," I whispered into her hair. "Every day I thought I was failing you. I thought you were disgusted by me," she whispered back. "That I'd gotten boring. That you were fantasizing about someone else." We pulled apart just enough to look at each other, really look, maybe for the first time in years. Her mascara was smeared, her eyes red and swollen. I probably looked just as wrecked. But there was something else there too. Something raw and real and honest. "I don't want to go to those dinners anymore," Emma said firmly. "I don't care about impressing anyone. Melissa's husband is having an affair, she told me last month. Jennifer's wife is filing for divorce. Everyone's just pretending, James. Just like we were." "The money doesn't matter," I said. "I mean, it does practically, but, Emma, I don't care if we have to downsize or whatever. I just want you. I want us to be okay." She cupped my face in her hands. "I'm going to quit my job. I've been thinking about it for a year. I want to do something that actually matters, maybe teach or work for a nonprofit. Something where I feel human again." "Do it," I said immediately. "Please do it. We'll figure out the money. I'll find something better. We'll make it work." "I miss you," Emma said, her thumb tracing my cheekbone. "I miss us. I miss the couple we used to be, the ones who stayed up all night talking about everything and nothing. When did we stop doing that? When we started pretending everything was fine." I leaned into her touch, starving for it. "When we started performing instead of living." Emma's eyes searched mine, and I saw something shift in her expression. Vulnerability giving way to something else, something heated and desperate and necessary. "I need you to know something," she said softly, her voice dropping lower. "When I said we haven't made love in weeks, James, it's been killing me. I lie awake at night wanting you so badly I can't breathe. But I was afraid you didn't want me anymore." My breath caught. "Are you serious? Emma, you're all I think about. I pull away because I feel like I don't deserve to touch you. Like I'm not worthy of you anymore." That's insane, she breathed, and suddenly her mouth was on mine. The kiss was desperate, hungry, 3 years of distance and longing and fear exploding into need. Her hands were in my hair, mine were sliding under her shirt, and we were both gasping, crying, laughing against each other's lips. We broke apart long enough for Emma to pull her shirt over her head, for me to shed my jacket and tie. No seduction, no finesse, just frantic need to be close, to be real, to be connected again. Tell me what you need, I whispered against her neck, my hands tracing the curves I'd been too afraid to reach for. You, she gasped. Just you. All of you. No more walls, James. No more pretending. We tumbled back onto the bed, a tangle of limbs and shed clothing and whispered confessions. Every touch was an apology, every kiss a promise. Her skin was warm beneath my palms, her breath hot against my ear. I love you, I said over and over like a prayer. I love you so much it terrifies me. I love you too, she breathed, pulling me closer. God, James, I never stopped loving you. We made love like it was the first time and the last time and every time in between, desperate and tender and completely vulnerable. No performance, no pretense. Just two people who'd been lost finding their way back to each other. Afterward, we lay tangled together in the wreckage of our sheets, both of us breathing hard. Emma's head rested on my chest, my fingers trailing lazy patterns on her bare shoulder. I can't believe we wasted so much time, she murmured. We didn't waste it, I said, pressing a kiss to her forehead. We learned. We grew. Sometimes you have to fall apart to figure out how to be whole. Emma propped herself up on one elbow, looking down at me with eyes that were clear and bright despite the tears staining her cheeks. So what now? Now we start over, I said. No more secrets. No more pretending. We're going to mess up. I'm still going to have bad days at work. You're still going to have anxiety. We're still going to struggle. But we do it together. We do it honestly. Deal? She smiled, and it was the first genuine smile I'd seen from her in months. Maybe years. Starting tomorrow, I'm giving my 2 weeks' notice. And I'm going to stop hiding my freelance work. Actually, I'm going to tell you about it, get your input. We're partners, Emma. Equal partners. She kissed me again, soft and sweet. Equal partners who are totally broke and probably insane. The best kind, I agreed. We stayed up until dawn talking about everything, our fears, our dreams, the life we wanted to build. We made plans. Smaller apartment, less expensive lifestyle, more time together. We talked about the counseling we probably needed, the habits we wanted to change, the marriage we wanted to rebuild. As the first light crept through our curtains, Emma snuggled closer, her breathing evening out into sleep. I held her, wide awake, marveling at how close we'd come to losing everything. I'd expected judgment when I confessed my darkest feelings. I'd expected disappointment, anger, maybe even disgust. Instead, I'd found something unbelievable. Someone just as scared, just as lost, just as desperate to be seen and loved anyway. The response I got wasn't what I imagined. It was so much better. It was real.